Today we are taking a look at EXE Valley or EXE Valley, and this is a company down in Exeter, and they pride themselves in selling natural feed, and they have been a family run business since 2009. But irrespective of all that, what we are here for is to determine whether this is a good or a bad food and whether this is actually worth your money. So we are going to delve straight into it. The first ingredient the first recipe we are going to get into is the adult small kibble delicious chicken, and these will set you back between £6 and £12.49. And we see all the things that a lot of dog food manufacturers tell us that are very, very good for our dogs: free from grains, high meat content, healthy oils, fruit and veg, and herbs. And it is a dog food made here in the UK. So what's not to like? Well, what's not to like or what's to like will have to be seen by the ingredients list, because you should always look at the ingredients list. The first ingredient is chicken, and that comprises 56% of the bag of dog food, and that's really, really good. Anytime you pick a bag of dog food, the first ingredient and the second and the third should optimally be a protein source, and 56% chicken is high in my opinion. We have 27% out of the 56 being dry chicken, and 26% being freshly prepared chicken, and 3% is chicken stock, which arguably it is what it is. You know, we don't really like to see stock, but that adds flavor and it somewhat binds the whole thing together. We then go into sweet potato, which is 26%, and then from there we see peas, bit pulp, 6% potato, and omega-3s and vegetable stock and that sort of thing. So the main components of these dogs' food are the 56% chicken, and then we get into the sweet potato, which is 26%, peas and potato. So the carbohydrate content is very, very high, albeit coming from a low glycemic carbohydrate such as sweet potato. Being an affordable food, we see a high proportion of meat, but you are trading cheapness, you are trading quality animal ingredients for a bit more filler, a bit more carbohydrate content that you might want in your dog's diet. 26% sweet potato is very, very high by any measure whatsoever, and so that's not something I'm keen on. The second recipe I'm going to look at is the adult tantalizing turkey dog feed, and this will set you back between £6 and about £50 here in the UK for a big sack of 10 kilos, so 10 kilos, about 50 quid. And again, the composition is 50% turkey, 28% being freshly prepared turkey, and 20% dry turkey, with 2% being turkey stock. We then get into the sweet potato, which again is standardized 26%, and then peas and potato 6%. So this is a food that will keep the same amount of filler, will keep the same amount of carbohydrate, will keep the same amount of additives to the food. And I don't mean additives in terms of vitamins and minerals and any other preservatives. I mean additives in terms of your peas, your potato, your beet pulp, your vegetable stock, your minerals, your sweet potato, your potato, and they will only change the meat that you are getting in the food. And this streamlines things and makes it a bit more affordable and cheaper to you, the end consumer. What do we think? We like to see the 50% turkey in the dog food, and we do not like to see the 26% sweet potato, peas and potato. But again, you are somewhat trading their quality for money. And the third recipe we are going to look at is the adult pleasant pork dog feed, and then this will again set you back between £6 and £50 depending on what you are looking at. And again, pork is 50%, 30% is freshly prepared pork, which is great, 18% dried pork and 2% pork stock. We then get into the sweet potato, 26%, and the ingredient list is pretty much identical whenever it comes to the rest of it. What do we think about EXE Valley or EXE Valley? It isn't a bad food actually. This would be a food, in my opinion, that would be equal or superior to some very, very expensive kibbles out there that they are all marketing, but they are able to price their dog food at such high prices that they sort of deceive you into thinking you are getting a very good product. Let's not beat around the bush here. 26% sweet potato is a very high proportion of potato, and then the peas, and then we get into the potato, which is 6 to 8% of every single recipe in the kibble. That's a high proportion of filler of potato, and something we don't really like. It's not biologically appropriate for your dog, you see. If your dog were left to their own devices, they wouldn't just munch and feast on a field of potatoes. They would want to catch and eat small mammals, small predators, or small prey for that matter. So the higher the meat content, the better for your dog. And the lower the amount of carbohydrates, the better for your dog. Having said that, if you are looking for a budget brand, and budget and money is something quite important to you, you could consider this food because it's high in meat content and the carbohydrates they have used are pretty low in their glycemic index, albeit very, very high. I can think of 2 or 3 brands that are very, very similar in terms of ingredients, in terms of quality, but the price is literally double. You pay £100 or close to £100 for 10 or 12 kilos of this dog food. And so EXE Valley is a pretty affordable dog food, and it's made here in the UK. It's family owned, and so for someone who is looking at a cheap alternative, EXE Valley can indeed be a very good option. Also, do bear in mind that we haven't been paid and that we do not get any commission from anyone, so we can be very, very honest and transparent and give you our thoughts, which is extremely important in such a murky world where everyone is trying to sell you something all the time. We aren't like that. We are independent, and we are going to remain independent. We want to tell you what's really, really good for your dog. And this food is a budget brand. That's all it is. It's a budget brand that tries to adhere to good quality, tries to adhere to good ingredients. We do not see anything nasty there. There's no meat and animal derivatives. There's no corn, there's no wheat, there's no barley, there's no sugar, there's no dextrose. All the ingredients tend to be a bit better than anything else. And so if you really are into this sort of content, what you should do is watch this video next, because I break down everything you need to know about dog food and what the best ingredients are for your dog.